Yes, Lenny Kravitz opened our today's session, and now we jump into the first presentation, and we will actually talk about Grand Bahama Island, which is the most northern islands of the archipelago of the Bahamas. It's got pine forests, it's got really amazing beaches, and a bustling Port Lucayan that is welcoming our guests. I think that Grand Bahama Island is a little bit like Nassau in former times, a little copy of Nassau and its busyness. Yeah, you reach the island from Florida. You can either fly there or you can go there by boat. And I'm now welcoming Carmel Churchill to a short presentation on Grand Bahama Island. Carmel, I know you're having problem. You logged on with your phone only, so you cannot turn on the video. But a very good morning to you, Carmel.
Good morning, Claudia, and good morning to your audience. We're so excited to be here.
That's absolutely wonderful. Carmel, I never asked you this question, but are you a true Grand Bahamian?
A true Bahamian man, a true Grand Bahamian indeed. I was actually born and raised in a small settlement called 8 Mile Rock. Actually, it's the largest settlement in the Bahamas. And I moved throughout the community, starting in Hannah Hill, and then on to a small, township called Seagrape. So yes, I'm a true Grand Bahamian. I still live on Grand Bahama Island. So yeah, I'm always excited when you come down and you bring your friends with you.
Grand Bahama Island, I mean, especially 8 Miles. I remember the beautiful beach at 8 Miles. But what stands Grand Bahama for, and what are the key attractions? Why would you recommend a tourist to come and to see Grand Bahama Island?
Well, for us Grand Bahamians, we tend to say Grand Bahama offers a little bit of all of the Bahamas. And why do we say that? When you take a look at the map of Grand Bahama Island, we break the island down into three sections. And those three sections would be West Grand Bahama, East Grand Bahama, and then, of course, the Freeport Lucayo City Center. And in the western part of Grand Bahama Island, this is where you find, more of your little out island experience. You get to see the locals. You can stroll along the western seashore of the island, see all of the fresh seafood being brought to shore. You can go fishing and just enjoy island life at its best. And then as you go into the eastern end of Grand Bahama Island, this is an area that we refer to as our eco wonderland. In most cases, the beaches are untouched. You can go and walk for miles. One of our beaches in particular out on the east is Gold Rock Beach. At low tide, you can walk out into the ocean for miles. And I mean, just see that rippling sand effect. We call it the Grand Bahama Welcome Mat. And then, of course, in the Freeport Lucayo area, you can find everything from your upscale dining restaurants all the way to your local Bahamian peas and rice, macaroni and cheese that you will find at our open air fruit market in the downtown section of Grand Bahama Island.
Well, I can only confirm I've just been to the eastern part of Grand Bahama Island, and at Gold Rock Beach, it is absolutely amazing. But we are now talking to Grand Bahama Promotion Board, like we spoke yesterday to Nassau Paradise Island Promotion Board. What are the duties of Grand Bahama Promotion Board, and when should a tour operator or product manager reach out to you, Carmel, and when do they need to get in touch with you?
Certainly. So the Grand Bahama Island Promotion Board is really the private sector marketing engine for the island of Grand Bahama. We have all of the major hotel properties as well as attractions, transportation providers. Pretty much every segment of the tourism sector is represented by this organization. And what we do is we pool all of our resources together to make sure that the island has its fair share of voice when we are promoting the destination. For tour operators, we encourage them to reach out to us, particularly when they're looking at building programs to the destination. Certainly they work with you, Claudia, and the Bahamas Ministry of Tourism, but when we work together in partnership, we can deliver a product that the tour operators can be really proud of and be able to showcase for their clients coming into the destination. So, you know, we would say that we are the one-stop shop for tour operators looking to build programs into Grand Bahama Island.
Thank you. What do you aim to achieve for continental Europe and the UK? What is your mission in these source markets?
Well, for us in Grand Bahama Island, you know, there was a time when we did have, you know, direct flight service out of Europe, and we would certainly like to see those days come back again. And so for us, our strategy at this particular time is to one, restore what we once had with the European market. Two, we want to ensure that they are aware of all of our product offerings on the island. And then three, see how best we can both work together to deliver those passengers to the destination, hopefully, you know, beginning at the end of this year and into 2023 and beyond.
Wonderful. Did you launch any specials? Are you aiming to launch any specials to make it also from a price perspective attractive for the consumers to travel to Grand Bahama?
Well, Claudia, you know, specifically, we were promoting the you know, fly free to Grand Bahama Island from Nassau. So if anyone has passengers, clients going into Nassau by one of the flights from Europe, they can connect on another flight coming into Grand Bahama Island, depending on the length of stay, and we can offset the cost of that additional airlift. Now, we are working on a specific marketing plan for the European market. I can say that we are probably about 8 weeks away from launching that. And when we do that, we will be looking at overall reduction of cost of getting to Grand Bahama Island, specifically from Nassau or any other destination that Europeans will travel through to get to Grand Bahama Island.
Well, this sounds very interesting, Carmel. So we have Lighthouse Point joining today, and we have Viva Windham joining today. So I don't want to steal more of your time now, Carmel. You have 9 more minutes to do your presentation, and I'm sure that you will also introduce some additional hotels that are obviously in Grand Bahama Island waiting for you. And I think Elena can go already on the next slide.
Absolutely.
Hear more about you.
Very good. Yeah. So, you know, as Claudia mentioned earlier, you know, getting to Grand Bahama can be quite easy. You can either get to Grand Bahama Island by Florida. You know, we have the Bahamas Paradise Cruise that leaves from West Palm, Valeria Fast Ferry from Fort Lauderdale. And then, of course, you can fly from Fort Lauderdale on Silver, Bahamas Air, and from Miami, American Airlines over to Grand Bahama Island. All of these trips are very short trips over to the island because we're only 55 miles away from the mainland of the USA. Okay, continuing on, as I mentioned previously, when you look at Grand Bahama Island, you have West Grand Bahama, Freeport Lucaya, and East Grand Bahama. As a reminder, Grand Bahama Island is just 60 miles off the coast of Florida. We're the second most northerly island in the Bahamas. And then, of course, we offer 3 unique destination experiences. In West Grand Bahama, as I said earlier, this is more of your out island experience, sleepy fishing village. You know, you have an upscale boutique resort located on the western end of the island. And you can also jump off for wonderful excursions where you can go snorkeling, diving, as well as taking an educational adventure and learning about stingrays on Grand Bahama Island. As you come into the city of Freeport, you can experience everything from fine dining cuisine all the way to your out island beach shack experience. Lots of water sporting activities, boating, kayaking, that's all available. And then as we get into the eastern end of Grand Bahama Island, we're now looking at our Eco Wonderland. Some of the best bone fishing, or some people refer to it as fly fishing, is found on the eastern end of Grand Bahama Island. The bonefish flats are just extensive. We have a wonderful bonefish lodge located at the far eastern end of the island. And this lodge, you know, is all inclusive. It has transportation as well as all of your food and beverage needs for your entire stay. Moving on to our next slide. Most persons would like to know at this time what's open on Grand Bahama Island. And as we go through the slide, you can see Lighthouse Point, which you will learn more about today in a presentation with them. Resort is open. And this resort, I mean, lots of wonderful things will be happening, and I know that they will give you all the latest updates on the resort itself. But it's one of our major resorts on Grand Bahama Island, and they are waiving their clean and pristine certification for same as all of the other hotels that have prepared themselves to accept visitors since COVID. Next slide. The Viva Wyndham Fortuna All-Inclusive Resort. I tend to tell people this resort offers you your best value in vacation experience. It's all-inclusive. They have a variety of restaurants, bars, but most of all that I love about this resort, in the next slide you will see that they are located on an expansive ocean front there. I mean, just take a look at it. And so even for myself, when I'm thinking about a staycation, this is one of my go-to resorts. In the next slide, you will see that we have a resort. There are actually two sister resorts. One is called the Flamingo Bay Hotel and Marina, which is located on the Bell Channel Marina. They operate a ferry service that takes you over to the main shopping and entertainment center called the Port Lucaya Marketplace. And then they have another resort, which is called the Marlin at Taino Beach Resort, which offers more of a vacation rental or home away from home experience. These two properties combined offers you the best of both worlds in a vacation experience. Bell Channel Marina options or oceanside options. In our next slide, you can see that they have a wonderful restaurant and bar located there at the resort. It's called Taino by the Sea. And actually, the husband and wife team, the husband, he's originally from Germany. So we're quite excited about that. And he always likes to take time in talking with visitors that are visiting from Germany while at their establishment. They also run a small garden cafe at the Garden of the Groves. Continuing on, there are so many other hotel properties available on Grand Bahama Island, and here is a list of them. I won't go through the entire list, but there's a total of over 1,400 hotel rooms and accommodations available on Grand Bahama Island. The vacation rental and condominium market offers you anything from upscale accommodations in the western end of Grand Bahama Island, and some of those accommodations can rent for up to $15,000 per night. So we're really excited about our offerings on Grand Bahama Island. This is an exciting time for us, and over the next few weeks, you're going to hear a lot of announcements about what's happening in the destination. Continuing on, Claudia, as I mentioned, over 1,400 vacation rentals, accommodations plus vacation rentals are available today. And all of them have their clean and pristine certifications. Continuing. Lots of things to do on Grand Bahama. And Claudia, we can go through this real fast. So on Grand Bahama Island, we have the soft adventures, anywhere from paddle boarding, fly fishing, and then, as I mentioned earlier, an educational adventure with stingrays on the island. Not only do we want you to have fun, but we really want to educate you about what's available on the island and about interacting with the environment on Grand Bahama Island. So we have excellent tour guides that are certified in these areas. In our next slide, diving on Grand Bahama Island is spectacular. And the reason why we can boast of this is the fact that you can dive with sharks, dolphins, turtles, you can dive wrecks, and also too, one of our best and most exciting dive locations right now is Tiger Beach, and that's located off the western end of Grand Bahama Island. our recommendation is that you want to make sure book your clients way in advance for these diving experiences, because we do take a limited number of persons to some of these locations. There are several dive operators available on Grand Bahama Island, including Unexo and Reef Oasis at the Viva Wyndham Fortuna Resort. In the western end of Grand Bahama Island, we have West End Water Sports that's really doing a great job out there. Continuing, in our next slide, dining and cultural experiences on Grand Bahama, we really take this to another level. We take people to people in a very different light. And when we say we take it in a different light, we encourage you to encourage your clients to reach out to local taxi drivers or tour guides who can take you to the little pockets of the island where you can experience some of the local cuisine and speak with some of our local Bahamians on the history of the island, as well as how best to interact. Places like the chicken in the bag. Bahamians love fried chicken and French fries, and it's served in a bag. As you can see in the photo in the lower bottom corner there, that coupled with a really good guide giving you information about the destination and how we live as a people really makes for an outstanding experience. Continuing, next slide. Destination weddings on Grand Bahama Island continues to be amazing. In this photo that you see here, this is at the Garden of the Groves. There's a chapel that sits on the hill in the heart of the garden, overlooking over 10,000 species of trees and plants. We did earlier this year lose a wonderful person who did an extensive amount of work with ecotourism on Grand Bahama Island. Her name is Erica Gates, who originally hailed from Germany. And, we're missing her so much right now. But Erica has done an outstanding job restoring the Garden of the Groves. And, it makes it a great place for couples to either marry for the first time, renew their vows, or they can just come and honeymoon and have a romantic stroll, particularly standing on the labyrinth that is located within the garden. Beach weddings are also great. So, whatever your client is interested in, we have certified wedding planners that can guide them on this journey. In our next slide, Claudia, family and romance, continues to dominate the number of persons coming into the destination. What makes Grand Bahama a really good choice? I mean, the number one reason that persons come to the Bahamas is that they want to have a beach experience. On Grand Bahama Island, of the 96 miles of the island, 60 miles of it is just pure white sandy beach. We have actually had a local historian who has gone out and scoped out these beaches and named them. So there are 44 named beaches on Grand Bahama Island. Don't you think that makes for a great experience? You can check off your list every day for 44 days, a brand new beach. Port Lucaya Marketplace, as well as West End for boating, is spectacular. Again, as we mentioned earlier, there are so many options of getting to Grand Bahama Island. You can either get there by air, by cruise ship, fast ferry, or even a private boat. In the next slide, you will see a little bit more of an up close, looks like I dropped that slide, but up close and personal, you would be able to see the cruise ship. Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line is undergoing a rebranding, and they're now going to be Margaritaville at Sea. Their first sailing would be during the month of April, where they're going to have, over 1,400 passenger capacity on board the ship, as well as restaurants and bars. They leave out of West Palm Beach, Florida, and come on over to Grand Bahama Island. So your clients can stay 2, 4, or 6 nights on Grand Bahama Island and then sail back to West Palm Beach. The Bahamas Paradise, the Valeria Caribbean Fast Ferry leaves from Port Everglades and they can get to Grand Bahama Island in 2.5 hours on the fast ferry, and their capacity is about 600 passengers. So your options for getting to Grand Bahama is endless. Connecting through Nassau on Western Air or Bahamas Air is, is quite readily available. In order to get more information from us, you can actually scan the QR code that's on your screen right now, and this will allow you to download our destination guide. Our destination guide includes a number of our hotel properties, breaking down specific details on what each property offers. And then if you have any additional questions, you can always contact myself. My information is located at the bottom of the screen on your left-hand side. And then also too, for the most up-to-date information on Grand Bahama Island, you can check out our website, grandbahamavacations.com, or you can visit us on Facebook at Visit Grand Bahama Island, Instagram and Twitter at Visit GBI. This information is always updated, and we're always looking to get your feedback.
Carmel, you are amazing. What you have presented to us in the last 20 minutes, but I mean, we are at the end of your presentation. We love Grand Bahama. I think everybody wants to go there now. Thank you so much, Carmel.